All right, this next lesson is on percent of a number. So first of all, just quickly talking about rounding. If we get something like this for an answer, we're going to be talking about rounding in terms of money a lot in this chapter. So money is going to go out to the hundredths place. So this would be $7.49. But we look at the next number then, and because it's a 7, we actually have to round this up. So this would be rounded to $7.50. If we want to make these into money, this would be $2.34, but the 8 makes this $2.35. In this one we have 99 cents, but the 9 is actually going to make this all go up to the next dollar. So this would actually be $30. Here this is just 74 followed by a 2, so it'll stay 32.74. And the last one here is 93 followed by a 5, so this will go to $31.94. Basically in this section we're going to talk about percent of a number. We're going to actually calculate it, and we're also going to do it with estimating. So one of the things that we can do is to do a percent of a number. Reminder that of is telling you to multiply. One option is to change 60% to a decimal. So since it's a percent, we move it 2 places to the left. So this would be 0.60 times 200. And the other way to do it is to convert 60% to a fraction. So we could just do 60 over 100 times 200. Or if you really wanted to, you could simplify your fraction and you'll get 3/5 times 200. Either way, you're going to end up with 120 for your answer. So that's doing it as a decimal. If you wanted to do 60 over 100 times 200, you still also get 120 as well. So, personally, I'll be honest, I will typically just change these to decimals because that is the most logical, straightforward way instead of trying to deal with fractions. It's also easier if you have just a basic function calculator. You can still do all these problems, so you don't need the fancy one for this chapter. 5% of 300, so 5% is going to be 0.05 times 300. And that's going to give us 15. 120% is going to be 1.2. If there's a 0 at the end, we don't necessarily need it, of 75, so times 75. And we get 90. 25%, 0.25 of 180. That gives us 45. And finally, 150% would be 1.5 times 28. And we get 42. So, example 5, if 275 students took the survey, how many can be expected to have 3 TVs in their house? 3 TVs was 23%, so we're really doing 23% of 275, so 0.23 times 275. Oops. And that gives us 63.25. So we would just round that down. We'll say about 63 students. In number 6, Mr. Studemac earned a 4% commission on a hot tub that cost $3,755. How much did he earn? So we're doing 4% of $3,755, 0.04. 3,755, and we get $63.25 as his commission. So the second part of this lesson is talking about estimating. So what we're going to do is first find 10% of the number and then multiply. So if I wanted to do 70%, I would figure out what 10% is and do it 7 times. So if 200 people are surveyed to find out how they learned to play an instrument, the survey results say that 32% of people took lessons at school. About how many people took lessons at school? So 32%, we're going to just round down to 30% of 200 people. So when I think about a percent, 10%, I'm really taking 200 and dividing it by 10. Another way to think about this is to write it out like this. 0 on the top and bottom are actually going to cancel each other out. So we just have 20 over 1, which is 20. So 10% is actually equal to 20. So we're going to do that 3 times, and we're going to multiply 3 times the 10% here is really what we're going for. So we can say there would be about 60 people who took lessons through school then. Jody has paid 62% of the $500 she owes for her loan. About how much has she paid? So we're going to say 60% of 500. So think about what is 500 divided by 10, which is really just going to be 50. You need 6 of those, which is equal to 300. The next part, we're estimating 122% of 50. So we're going to say this is 120%. That's 10% 12 times. And if I do 50 divided by 10, I'm really just getting 5. So I'm doing 12 times 5, which is going to be 60 for my answer. Final one, estimate 298% of 45. So we're just going to say 300% of, and we're going to make our life really easy and just call it 50 again. So 10%, or splitting this into tens, is going to give us 5. So we actually need 30 of those. So we're going to end up with 150 for our estimate.